One became a security guard, another traded red carpets for a classroom, and one walked away from fame so completely that Hollywood still wonders where they went. These were the child stars who once ruled television and movie screens, until they vanished without warning. Today we're uncovering the shocking paths of 15 former child icons whose meteoric rise ended in the most unexpected ways. Brace yourself. Their disappearances are jaw-dropping. One Emmanuel Lewis.
You teased the Whopper? My Whopper?
Emmanuel Lewis wasn't just a child actor for a moment in the 1980s, he was a whole cultural phenomenon. As the tiny, quick-witted star of the hit sitcom Webster, he stole hearts across America. His unusually small stature made him immediately recognizable, but it was his warmth, charm, and natural comedic timing that turned him into a household name. For several years, Emmanuel was everywhere, smiling from magazine covers, appearing in commercials, and lighting up television screens almost daily. But when Webster eventually wrapped, something unexpected happened. Emmanuel didn't glide into teen or adult stardom the way many fans assumed he would. Instead, his presence in Hollywood slowly faded, not because of scandals, meltdowns, or bad headlines. There was no dramatic fall from grace, no tragic tabloid story. He simply stepped away. As the years passed, he made occasional appearances, a guest spot here, a commercial there, but nothing close to the overwhelming fame he had as a child. And the interesting part is, he never seemed bothered by it. While other former child stars fought desperately to stay relevant, Emmanuel chose peace over pressure. He lived his life quietly, without chasing cameras or forcing a comeback. That didn't mean he stopped growing as a person. Away from the spotlight, Emmanuel explored new passions. He studied in college, got involved in music, and even took on behind-the-scenes work in entertainment. In interviews, he always came across relaxed, content, and free from the bitterness that plagues many early stars. No breakdowns, no feuds, no wild stories, just a guy who was perfectly okay with moving at his own pace. And yet, millions still remember him fondly. To them, he will always be the lovable kid from Webster, the one who made them laugh and feel something genuine. His time in the spotlight may have been brief, but his impact, his place in TV history was already guaranteed. And honestly, that's a legacy most actors only dream of. 2. Orlando Brown. Orlando Brown was once one of Disney Channel's brightest young stars. If you grew up watching That's So Raven, you definitely remember him as Eddie, the quick-witted best friend who always stumbled into hilarious chaos. His natural comedic timing, effortless charm, and infectious energy made him a fan favorite. For a moment, it seemed like he was destined for a long, successful career in Hollywood. But once That's So Raven ended, things slowly began to unravel. Orlando drifted out of the spotlight, and headlines about him started getting darker. Instead of new roles or exciting projects, people began hearing about arrests, bizarre videos, and troubling behavior. His struggles with drug addiction became public, and the consequences were heartbreaking. Fans who adored him as a kid suddenly saw mugshots instead of TV appearances, and his name became linked more to controversy than comedy. The most painful part was watching how drastically his public image changed. The once beloved Disney star was now showing signs of deep personal and mental health struggles. Orlando had emotional breakdowns on social media and gave interviews where he made strange claims about other celebrities, stories that didn't match reality. It was obvious he was fighting battles far bigger than anyone had realized. Eventually, Orlando acknowledged his addiction and entered rehab, a turning point that showed he genuinely wanted to rebuild his life. In recent years, audiences have seen glimpses of progress. He's appeared on a few reality shows, released music, and spoken openly about trying to stay on the right path. While he hasn't fully returned to acting the way fans once hoped, he's taking steps toward healing, slowly but surely. Orlando Brown's journey hasn't been easy, but he's still fighting, and for many who grew up watching him, that's something worth rooting for. 3. Marcus T. Polk.
I'm sorry I lied to you, Martin. I just didn't want to go to Arizona.
Marcus T. Polk became a familiar face to millions thanks to his role as Miles, the mischievous younger brother on the hit sitcom Moesha. If you grew up watching the show, you definitely remember his hilarious one-liners, playful energy, and the way he constantly annoyed his big sister in the most entertaining way possible. He brought heart, humor, and a spark of youth that helped make the series unforgettable. Back then, everyone assumed Marcus was headed for a long, successful career in Hollywood. After Moesha wrapped, Marcus continued acting, landing roles in films like Roll Bounce and popping up in a few TV shows. But despite his early success, he never found another project that reached the same level of fame. As time passed, the opportunities slowed down, and so did his presence on screen. Fans who once saw him every week started asking, what happened to Marcus? Things became more challenging as he grew older. Marcus faced several legal issues that brought unwanted attention, including a domestic violence case and a DUI arrest. Suddenly, his name appeared in headlines for all the wrong reasons. For many who remembered him as the lovable, funny kid from TV, it was painful to see his life take such a difficult turn. Still, Marcus didn't completely disappear from the public eye. He shifted his focus toward music, made appearances at events, and remained active in small ways. But when it comes to acting, he hasn't had a major role in years. He surfaces from time to time, just not in the big Hollywood projects fans once expected. Today, Marcus feels like he's in a transitional space, not entirely gone, but not fully back either. He's still trying to find his footing, still searching for that next big break. And while he hasn't had the dramatic comeback some child stars manage, he's still out there, still moving, still trying. And sometimes, that effort alone tells a story worth paying attention to. 4. Gary Coleman.
What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about?
Gary Coleman was once one of the biggest child stars on television. To millions of viewers, he was Arnold from Different Strokes, the tiny kid with the giant charisma and the unforgettable catchphrase, "What you talkin' 'bout?" His smile lit up living rooms across America, and for a time he was everywhere, beloved, admired, and earning millions before he was even a teenager. But behind all that fame was a life filled with struggles most people never saw. Gary suffered from serious health problems from the moment he was born. A rare kidney condition stunted his growth and forced him into constant medical treatments. His height wasn't a funny TV gimmick. It was a lifelong reminder of the health battles he had to fight every single day. And the treatments were expensive. So expensive that a huge part of his income went straight to medical bills. What made everything worse was that the people he trusted, his parents and his manager, were the ones managing his fortune. Instead of protecting it, they mishandled it. By the time Gary reached adulthood, the money he worked so hard for was mostly gone. He ended up having to sue his own parents just to reclaim what belonged to him. Imagine being world famous as a child, only to grow up broke and betrayed by your family. That was Gary's reality. As an adult, he tried to keep acting, but Hollywood didn't know what to do with him anymore. The big roles stopped coming. He took on small parts when he could, but nothing ever matched the success of Different Strokes. To survive, he worked regular jobs, at one point even serving as a mall security guard. A former icon was now being filmed by strangers who recognized him and didn't understand how far he had fallen. He also faced legal troubles, clashes with the paparazzi, and rocky personal relationships. It felt like the world kept throwing punches, and Gary never got a chance to stand back up completely. His story is a heartbreaking reminder of how fame can shine brightly and still leave someone in the dark. 5. D. Davis.
She goes into the woods.
Dee Davis was the unforgettable little star who stole hearts on the Bernie Mac show. As Brianna lovingly called Baby Girl, She brought innocence, charm, and perfectly timed comedy to every episode. Her on-screen connection with Bernie Mac felt real, almost like you were watching a true family grow. Fans adored her sweetness, her adorable expressions, and the way she balanced humor with genuine emotion. For a child actor, her talent was impressive, and many people assumed she was only at the beginning of a long Hollywood career. But when the series ended, Dee did something no one expected. She vanished from the industry completely. Unlike other child stars who jumped into new projects, Dee didn't take on any more roles. She quietly stepped away from acting, and most viewers didn't even notice until years later when they suddenly wondered, wait, what happened to Baby Girl? The truth is simple. Dee chose a normal life. She focused on school, friendships, and growing up far away from the chaos of show business. She didn't chase fame or try to stay in the spotlight. No constant interviews, no publicity tours, no desperate attempts to stay visible. She just lived, peacefully, privately, and on her own terms. As she grew older, Dee became a mom and built a life centered around family rather than cameras. She shares glimpses of her world on social media now and then, but she's never hinted at returning to acting, and from the outside looking in, she seems genuinely content with the path she chose. Not everyone wants lifelong fame, and Dee Davis proved that. Sometimes a single iconic role is enough to leave a lasting impression. She gave us laughter, heartfelt moments, and one of the most beloved baby girls in sitcom history, and that legacy still lives on, even if she chose a quieter life. 6. Brandon Hammond.
Big Mama wanted me to get everyone together for a Sunday dinner.
Brandon Hammond wasn't just another child actor. He was one of those rare kids who could deliver real, powerful performances. Not just cute smiles or funny lines, but genuine emotion. If you watched Soul Food Mars Attacks or The Fan, you definitely remember him. Even at a young age, Brandon carried scenes with a depth most adult actors struggle to reach. In Soul Food, his narration tied the entire movie together, and many viewers believed he was destined to become the next big star. But after a run of incredible performances in the late 90s, something unexpected happened. Brandon quietly faded from Hollywood. By the early 2000s, he wasn't appearing in movies or TV shows anymore. There was no scandal, no dramatic exit, no heartbreaking downfall. He simply stepped back. For a while, no one really questioned it, until fans started asking, whatever happened to that amazing kid from Soul Food? The truth is surprisingly uplifting. Brandon didn't leave because the industry rejected him. He walked away because he wanted a new creative path. He became fascinated with writing, screenplays, and filmmaking, not as an actor, but as a creator behind the camera. Instead of memorizing lines, he started crafting them. That transition isn't easy for most former child stars, but Brandon embraced it. He began working on short films, developing scripts and shaping stories from scratch. In interviews, he said that acting was a beautiful chapter of his life, but writing gave him a whole new sense of purpose and artistic freedom. So while he's no longer a familiar face in Hollywood, Brandon Hammond hasn't disappeared at all. He's simply moved into another part of the storytelling world, still creating, still imagining, still building something meaningful. And now, let's shift to someone who grew up on one of the funniest family sitcoms of the 2000s. 7. Shadia Simmons.
I what? Black people?
Shadia Simmons was one of those Disney Channel stars who delivered performances you never forgot. If you were a Disney kid, you absolutely remember her in The Color of Friendship, a film that tackled race, identity, and friendship with surprising depth. Shadia carried her role with maturity and emotion far beyond her years. She also shined in Zenon, the sequel, and became a fan favorite on the sci-fi teen series Strange Days at Blake Holsey High. Shadia wasn't just another young face on screen. She had presence, she had range, she had that spark that made people believe she was on track for a long, successful career in Hollywood. But then, just as her star seemed to be rising, something unexpected happened. she began to fade from the spotlight. No new movies, no TV appearances. Fans who once watched her grow up on screen started asking, where did Shadia Simmons go? The answer is surprisingly refreshing. Shadia chose to walk away, completely on her own terms. She didn't storm out of Hollywood, and she wasn't pushed out either. She simply decided she wanted a different kind of life. One without auditions, cameras, or constant attention. Instead of chasing fame, she pursued something far more grounded: teaching. Today, she works as a teacher in Canada, guiding and supporting young students. Imagine discovering that your teacher used to be a Disney Channel star, not because she brags about it, but because someone else recognizes her. Shadia is also a mom now, living a quiet, stable life far removed from red carpets and movie sets. What makes her story inspiring is that she didn't leave Hollywood because she failed. She left because she wanted something real, something meaningful, and she built exactly that, a new life defined by purpose, not popularity. 8. Camille Winbush.
But it's the concert of the year. Everyone's going, even the white girls.
Camille Winbush became a familiar face to millions thanks to her unforgettable role as Vanessa on The Bernie Mac Show. She was the sharp, no-nonsense niece who always had the perfect comeback. Even as a teenager, Camille carried herself with the confidence and skill of a seasoned actress. Many viewers were convinced she was destined for a huge Hollywood career once the show ended. But after the series wrapped, Camille didn't stay in the center of the spotlight. She took on a few roles, including an appearance on The Secret Life of the American Teenager, but nothing ever matched the level of visibility she once had. Slowly, she drifted away from acting without any dramatic announcement or scandal. She simply chose a different direction. As it turns out, Camille had new passions she wanted to explore. She shifted her focus toward business, creativity, and independence. She sang in a jazz band, launched her own skincare brand, and began building projects that allowed her to control her own narrative. Instead of waiting for Hollywood to hand her opportunities, she created her own. Even though acting isn't her main focus anymore, Camille continues to connect with fans through social media. She shares glimpses of her life, updates on her business ventures, and the occasional nostalgic moment from her Bernie Mac days. Her personality remains the same, grounded, real, and effortlessly likable. Camille Winbush didn't fade away because of controversy or failure. She stepped back because she wanted to grow on her own terms. And honestly, that takes courage. Not every former child star wants the constant hustle of Hollywood. Some choose peace, purpose, and reinvention. Camille chose her path, and fans still admire her for it. 9. Carlton Harris.
I didn't know I was doing anything wrong. You and Dad kiss all the time.
Carlton Harris is one of those child actors who showed real promise, the kind of kid you expected to grow up and stay in Hollywood forever. Most people remember him from The Parenthood, the warm, funny 90s sitcom that aired on the WB. The show had heart, humor, and a talented cast, and Carlton held his own as one of the kids in the family. He had natural charm, solid acting instincts, and the kind of screen presence that made viewers think he'd only get better with age. But once the show ended, something unusual happened. Carlton didn't just step back from acting, he vanished almost completely. No new roles, no guest appearances, no interviews, no reunions, no convention sightings, nothing. It's as if he walked away from Hollywood one day and never looked back. Even in the digital age, where almost everything is documented, there's barely any trace of him online. It's almost eerie how little information exists about what he's been doing since. The strange part is, his disappearance wasn't tied to scandal, legal trouble, or any dramatic Hollywood fallout. There were no headlines, no controversies, just silence. And unlike many former child stars, Carlton didn't resurface behind the scenes either. No producing, no writing, no voice acting, not even a reality TV appearance. In an era when everyone is online, the absence is almost shocking. Some fans have tried to dig for answers, hoping to find out where he ended up or what career he chose, but there are hardly any clues. It seems Carlton Harris made a clean, intentional break from the entertainment world, choosing privacy over publicity. Maybe he wanted a normal life. Maybe he had other dreams. Maybe he simply didn't enjoy the Hollywood lifestyle. And honestly, there's a certain respect in that. It takes confidence to walk away from a career most people spend their lives chasing. Wherever he is now, if he's happy, that's what truly matters. He may no longer be a household name, but to fans of the Parenthood, Carlton Harris remains part of a show that brought joy, laughter, and family warmth to millions, a legacy that still lives on. Up next, we're rewinding all the way back to the 1970s to spotlight a child star who became famous off one unforgettable fast food line. 10 Lark Voorhees.
I'll go with you when worms have ears.
Lark Voorhees was once one of the most recognizable teen stars on television. As Lisa Turtle on Saved by the Bell, she became an instant icon, stylish, sharp-tongued, confident, and unforgettable. Her character stood out not just for her fashion sense and attitude, but also because Lark was one of the few black teen actresses in a major hit show at the time. She brought flair, personality, and representation to a generation of viewers who adored her. But after Saved by the Bell wrapped, Lark's career didn't skyrocket the way many expected. She appeared in a few shows and films, but none reached the cultural impact of her breakout role. Slowly, her presence in Hollywood began to fade. No more red carpet appearances, no major interviews, no reunion specials. Fans started asking, where did Lark Voorhees go? The answers emerged years later, and they were heartbreaking. Lark's public appearances grew increasingly concerning, with interviews that felt disorganized and off balance. It wasn't until her mother revealed that she had been diagnosed with a mental disorder that the public finally understood the truth. Lark later confirmed she had schizoaffective disorder, a condition that affects mood, thoughts, and perception. It explained her sudden disappearance, and it highlighted the immense private struggles she had been battling while fans wondered why she wasn't in the spotlight. Instead of chasing fame, Lark chose to focus on her health and live quietly away from Hollywood's pressure. She didn't sell her story to tabloids or create drama for attention. She simply stepped back to survive and heal. Then, in 2020, she made a small but meaningful return. Lark appeared on the Dr. Oz show, speaking openly about her mental health for the first time. She even made a brief cameo in the Saved by the Bell reboot, bringing nostalgia and joy to longtime fans. It wasn't a full comeback, but it was a moment that reminded the world how much she meant to an entire generation. 11 Rodney Allen Rippey.
I'm too big to eat. You think you'll be able to get a bite now?
Rodney Allen Rippey became one of the most unforgettable child stars of the 1970s, all because of a single fast food commercial. In a now legendary Jack in the Box ad, a tiny Rodney held a giant burger nearly the size of his head and delivered the line that would make him famous nationwide. "It's too big a eat." That short sentence turned him into an overnight sensation. Audiences adored him. He was cute, charismatic, and naturally funny, with a charm that made him stand out from every other child actor of the era. After the commercial blew up, Rodney's fame only grew. He began appearing on talk shows, landing TV roles, and even recording music. For a moment, it seemed like he was on track for a long-lasting Hollywood career. But fame can be unpredictable. Just as quickly as Rodney became a household name, he faded from the limelight. As he got older, the roles stopped coming, and the public attention slowly drifted away. One day he was everywhere, and the next, he was simply gone from screens. The inspiring part is what came next. Rodney didn't spiral or fall into the traps that many child stars face. Instead, he chose a completely different path, a grounded one. He went to college, studied business and marketing, and built a life away from the spotlight. He worked behind the scenes in media, launched his own company, and even ran for public office a couple of times. He proved he was far more than just the cute kid from a commercial. Though he's no longer acting, Rodney still appears occasionally for interviews or nostalgic specials about classic ads and child stars. And through it all, he remains remembered for that one iconic moment. Sometimes all it takes is a single line to make history, and Rodney Allen Rippey did exactly that. 12 Rackle True.
Air, fire, water, earth, air, fire, water, water, air.
Rachel True has always been one of those actresses who commanded attention the moment she appeared on screen. Most people remember her as Rochelle from The Craft, where she portrayed one of the 4 teenage witches with grit, vulnerability, and an emotional depth that made her performance unforgettable. She didn't just play the role, she owned it. She later brought that same spark to the sitcom Half and Half, starring as Mona, the quirky, intelligent half-sister whose awkward charm made her instantly relatable. Rachel had a presence that was different, unique in the best possible way, and fans connected deeply with her. But after the show wrapped, something unexpected happened. Rachel gradually faded from Hollywood. Roles stopped coming. Big opportunities dried up. She wasn't appearing on red carpets or headlining new projects like she once did. For a while, it felt like she had simply slipped out of the spotlight. The painful truth? A large part of that disappearance was due to Hollywood itself. Rachel has spoken openly about the challenges she faced as a black actress in genres like horror and comedy. Despite her talent, the industry often sidelined her. One of the most hurtful moments came when she wasn't invited to the Craft reunion panels, despite being one of the film's central characters. Fans noticed, and many were frustrated on her behalf. Still, Rachel didn't let the industry define her worth. Instead of giving up, she stepped back and reshaped her path. She leaned into her spiritual side, becoming a professional tarot reader. She even wrote a book, True Heart Intuitive Tarot, blending her Hollywood journey with her metaphysical passions. Over time, she began reappearing at conventions, indie film events, and creative spaces where she could control her narrative. Recently, she's taken on smaller roles, voice acting gigs, and select projects, a slow but steady return, entirely on her terms. She may not be starring in blockbuster films, but Rachel True is doing what she loves, reclaiming her story, and making sure her voice is finally heard. And fans couldn't be happier to see her shining again. 13 Vanessa Baden.
I was in a daze, wasn't I guess, yeah. Singing everybody's line.
Vanessa Baden was a huge part of many 90s kids' childhoods. She lit up the screen on Gullah Gullah Island, the bright, musical, cultural show that taught kids about family, joy, and community. Later, she played Kyra on Kenan and Kel, the sharp, hilarious little sister who always delivered perfect comebacks. Vanessa had natural talent, confidence, and charisma, and fans loved watching her grow up right in front of them. But after Kenan and Kel ended, Vanessa seemed to disappear from Hollywood. She wasn't popping up in new projects, no guest roles, no movie appearances. She stayed private, didn't chase interviews, and didn't stay active in the public eye. To fans, it felt like she quietly slipped away from acting altogether. As it turns out, her departure had nothing to do with drama or failure. Vanessa simply wanted to explore a different side of storytelling. She went to college, sharpened her writing skills, and dove into producing and directing. She wasn't done with creativity. She just wanted to shape stories from behind the scenes instead of being in front of the camera. And she thrived. Vanessa co-wrote and starred in the critically acclaimed web series Giants, a powerful project that resonated with audiences. The series earned major praise and even won a Daytime Emmy Award, a huge achievement and proof that she was far from forgotten. As she grew older, Vanessa also became an important voice in social justice conversations. She wrote essays about her experiences as a Black woman in entertainment, offering insight, honesty, and strength. Today, Vanessa Baden works as a writer and producer in Hollywood, helping create meaningful stories for a new generation. She still acts occasionally, but it's clear her passion lies behind the camera, where she's making an impact bigger than ever. 14 Tha Mowry.
One of these days, I like to rock your world.
Taj Mowry will always be remembered as the genius kid who stole hearts on Smart Guy. As T.J. Henderson, the boy genius who skipped multiple grades and landed in high school way too early, he became a 90s icon. But it wasn't just his intelligence that made him unforgettable. Taj brought humor, warmth, and relatability to the character, making TJ someone every kid wanted as a friend. Back then, it seemed obvious he was headed straight for major Hollywood stardom. After Smart Guy ended, Taj didn't vanish, but he definitely wasn't as everywhere as before. He took on voice acting, most famously playing Wade in Kim Possible, and appeared in several Disney Channel movies. But compared to the impact of his breakout role, these projects didn't attract the same level of spotlight. Fans who grew up watching him eventually found themselves asking, so what happened to Taj Mowry? Instead of chasing blockbuster roles, Taj chose a more low-key, intentional path. He focused on smaller acting gigs, guest appearances, and steady voice work. He also explored his musical side, releasing songs that showed he had real vocal talent. But he never forced himself into the spotlight or tried to be a headline-making celebrity. Still, Taj never fully left the entertainment world. He starred in the sitcom Baby Daddy, where he played Tucker Dobbs for several seasons, a role that introduced him to a brand new generation of fans. He's also been active behind the scenes, writing, producing, and taking part in interviews and entertainment projects. Of course, fans also see him pop up alongside his famous sisters, Tia and Tamara Mowry, in their social media posts and occasional joint appearances. Their family bond remains strong, and it's something fans love to see. Taj Mowry may not shine under the same spotlight he once did, but he didn't crumble or disappear. He simply carved out a calmer, more private journey. And from the looks of it, he's genuinely happy choosing quality over constant fame. 15 Jazz Ray Cole.
Yes.
Jazz Ray Cole was the original Claire Kyle in season 1 of My Wife and Kids, and she brought a bold, fun, and sassy energy to the role. As the oldest daughter in the Kyle family, she fit right in with the cast's chemistry, and viewers quickly connected with her vibe. For many fans, she was Claire. So when the first season ended and a completely different actress replaced her in season 2, everyone was confused. Claire returned. The show moved on, but Jazz Ray Cole was suddenly nowhere to be seen. For years, fans wondered what happened behind the scenes. Eventually, the truth came out. Jazz didn't return because her mother objected to a season 2 storyline involving teenage pregnancy. She didn't want her daughter taking part in that arc, so Jazz stepped away, and the show continued without her. It wasn't Hollywood drama or a casting feud, just a protective mom making a tough call. After leaving the show, Jazz didn't land another major role right away. She didn't disappear entirely, though. She popped up in well-known shows like The Office, Everybody Hates Chris, and Monk, but her appearances were brief. Solid work, just not leading roles. For a while, she stayed on the quieter side of Hollywood. But she never stopped grinding. Jazz Ray Cole kept studying, kept training, and kept pushing forward. Over time, she made a subtle but steady comeback. She landed roles on The Soul Man, The Quad, and Netflix's The Lincoln Lawyer, proving she was still very much part of the industry. On top of acting, Jazz is also a professionally trained dancer, a passion she's had since childhood. She's worked as a choreographer and stayed creatively active behind the scenes. Her journey wasn't loud or flashy, but Jazz Ray Cole carved out her own path, and she's still shining in her own way. If you grew up watching any of these stars, tell us in the comments which one surprised you the most. We'd love to hear your memories. And before you go, don't forget to like this video, Hit subscribe and tap the notification bell so you never miss another throwback or deep dive. More stories, more nostalgia, and more untold Hollywood secrets are coming your way. Stay tuned.